The Naismith Moment, a look at hardwood history, culture, and the Canadian game. This week on the Naismith Moment, Kawhi, so serious. Kawhi Leonard is a unique entity in the National Basketball Association. There's a few things that separate him from all the other guys in the league. Number one, his hands. He's got these ginormous hands, kind of like Shaquille O'Neal, but he's able to do whatever he wants with them. He can actually make those free throws. Number two, the wingspan. He's 6'7", but he's got the wingspans of a guy who is 7'3". He's an absolute athletic menace with that wiry athletic frame, being able to play both ends of the court. Two things that are not spoken enough about Kawhi Leonard are his basketball IQ, his willingness to understand the X's and O's, listen to his coach, and actually grow and grow and grow as a player. And the last thing, and probably most important thing about Kawhi Leonard that makes him who he is on and off the basketball court is his drive, his absolute desire within to be the player he is. And I'll get back to that later. So, if I was Dr. Frankenstein and I wanted to recreate Kawhi in a lab, not very easy to do. There are three things I would put together to recreate him. Number one, Scottie Pippen, the guy who can guard from the 1 position to the 4 position on the court. Very, very hard to find in basketball. Number two, I throw in a bit of Wilt Chamberlain, being able to grab rebounds, being able to block shots, being able to steal balls, because Wilt, people don't realize this, he was able to get his hands on balls all over the court. Third thing I'd throw in to make Kawhi Leonard in the lab, just a falcon or a condor, just being able to swoop in and do whatever he wants, whenever he wants, because that's how he plays the game. Getting back to the drive. Kawhi Leonard is the type of guy, he's the cliche. He gets up at 5 a.m. to be on the court, first one in, and be the last one to leave. The absolute gym rat, with no issues off the court. Practice, practice, practice. He is the anti-Allen Iverson. The backstory of the man. He's only 22 years old, but there's layers and layers and layers of who he is. Growing up in Compton, California, not exactly the best neighborhood in Los Angeles. He played his ball, after being a high school star where he was Mr. Basketball, Mr. California basketball in his home state, the Golden State. He played his college ball at San Diego State and was a star there for 2 years. Then he got drafted in the 2011 draft, number 15. I don't know why he dropped to number 15, because apparently a lot of teams like the Toronto Raptors were interested in him at number 5. He dropped to number 15, and he didn't go to the Spurs. He went to the Indiana Pacers. Larry Legend. There was a problem, though, as there usually is with the draft. Pacers needed a point guard. So they were in talks a long time with San Antonio. They wanted to get George Hill. Interestingly enough, at the time, Popovich's favorite player, yes, favorite player on the Spurs, was George Hill. It took a lot of things. They had to throw a few things in the pot. They got it done shortly, like minutes after the selection was made. Traded to the Spurs. The thing is, the Spurs, as always, they have a system, they have a vision, and they wanted to put Kawhi into that. So even before they drafted him, they had him over during the draft visits. They had him shooting corner threes. They had him looking at him defensively. They brought in their shot doctor to adjust his shot and gave him a ton of notes to work on over the summer. Kawhi, being the gym rat he is, he did that. He walked into not exactly the best situation. 2011, his rookie year, he didn't have a camp. There was no training camp that year. He just got thrown into the fire. But like I said, the drive, the athleticism, the basketball IQ, he brought it again, all in together, and he just started growing and growing and growing on the court. Besides the corner three, defensively, with the instincts he had, he learned to play help defense. Like I said, he was able to guard guys all over the court. More importantly, offensively, his game grew. Strangely, they didn't know he was able to grow, a hook shot, being able to get a floater, and be able to shoot threes at different variation points in the court, and start getting assists. He just started growing. He started evolving as a basketball player. I'll throw you a couple of quotes. He has exceeded our vision. That's by R.C. Buford, who's currently the best GM in basketball. Here's another quote. He will be the face of the Spurs. He just wants it that badly. That's Greg Popovich. That's the best coach in the game saying that. That's a guy who holds his cards very, very closely to his face. He believes in him, and that's the thing. He believed he would fit in the system. He believed to be a star in it, and I believe in that too. I'll give you an example of what makes Kawhi who he is, because he's such kind of a, he's a cat. He can be very agile. He can just be very just sitting, waiting to just kind of perch on his prey, and he's just that patience, I would say. That willingness to let the game come to him, it very much separates him from everyone else he's playing against. So in Game 4 of the Western Conference Finals this year, 2014, the Spurs were facing OKC. Russell Westbrook had one of the best games of his life. He had like 40 points, 10 assists, 5 boards, 5 steals. It was a Michael Jordan-esque performance, something that hadn't been really seen in 30 years. Popovich probably didn't sleep that night. How is he going to counter that going into Game 5 of pretty much a much-win situation for the Spurs? He puts Kawhi Leonard on him defensively. What happens? So the previous game, Westbrook was shooting all over the court. He was getting his average shot 12 feet in. With Kawhi Leonard on him, he got half as many shots as he did the previous game, and his shots were all 18 feet out mostly, besides an early dunk. You know what he did? He limited Russell Westbrook to 21 points, and the Spurs won that decisive key Game 5, which will probably lead them to the NBA Finals. Not a lot of people recognize this, but any basketball purist will see that pretty much Kawhi, that defensive performance, pretty much won that game. The thing is, getting back to where I was at the beginning, Kawhi so serious. There is a bit of a sadness to his eyes, and you see that, you sense that, it's on the tip of your tongue. The issue is that when Kawhi was growing up, his father was his hero. He taught him everything he knew about his blue-collar work ethic. He ran a car wash that he owned in Compton. Kawhi would work there on the weekends. His dad would work him to the bone, washing cars, kind of like Karate Kid, eh? And he'd go home just exhausted, but he brought that to the basketball court. His dad also taught him how to play the game. He taught him how to run the hills. And he also taught him to work hard in school because the books were really important to him. And also his name, Kawhi, came from his dad, who wanted something Hawaiian sounding. But when Kawhi was 16 during the playoffs, his dad was actually murdered one night at the car wash, a case that actually has never been solved to this day. So the night after the murder, Kawhi, heavy-hearted, played one of the best games of his life, had 17 points, and actually collapsed in his mom's arms right after the game. It has been a defining moment in his life, on and off the court, in that drive and who he is. It is who he is. Now, I'm going to give you a quote from Kawhi himself, and this was actually taken from him in high school. "I try to play as hard as I can every night. That's what my father would have wanted me to do." And you see that on the court. You see that in how he plays. Now, I'm going to rewind back to the NBA Finals last year, 2013. Kawhi missed some very, very crucial free throws in that Game 6 loss. And I've been saying all season long, that's burning in his soul. We talk about LeBron James and having an adversary, and they talk about Paul George, but I really, really do believe it's going to be Kawhi Leonard, and it is Kawhi Leonard who's going to guard him most likely in this NBA Finals again, and probably for years to come. And so I look forward to this matchup, and I really do look forward to Kawhi Leonard having the opportunity to learn to win that ring. Because as he continues to learn and grow, and I believe he has that Hall of Fame plateau potential in him, it's not about the rings for him. It's not about the glory. It's not about the bling. It's about being the best player he can be. But really, honestly, from the heart, I want him to win that ring. Because I'm going to quote the Joker to end this. Kawhi so serious, It's because let's put a smile on that face. This has been the Naismith Moment. See you next week.